My National League friends, I hope everyone's doing well. Everyone's doing fine. I did say I'd finally get round to this, and we're getting round to it. There will be some National League coverage from me this year, and it starts right now. We're going to go through, I did a League 2 video, predictions on that. If you want to go and see that, it's on my channel, take a look at that, and tell me what you think, National League fans, where there's no pressure on you there, But this one is going to be the National League table prediction, where I'm going to go from bottom to top again, like I did in the League 2 one, who I think is going to finish bottom 4, all the way up. And so, again, if I put your club lower than you would like them to be, believe it's just my opinion. Please do not get too upset, because your club could very easily, and probably will, prove me wrong. So, as promised in this video, 24 up to 1. These are my predictions, and I will then want yours. So here we go. The team I have put bottom of the National League this season, it might seem like people will probably call it a cop-out answer. Bottom of my National League table will be Maidenhead United. Not Maidenhead, that's Maidstone. Maidstone United is the first of my... I get Maidenhead and Maidstone confused. You can understand why. The names are pretty close together. I've got Maidstone United. Now, people will say, well, that's just an easy cop-out answer, isn't it? They've only just come up, so they're going to be... they are one of the favourites to go down, Maidstone. I don't think a lot of their transfer business has been as good as some. I'm sure they will give a battling performance, as I'm sure all clubs will. Again, it's just, you look at the top end of the league, and even the middle of the league, it's so competitive. The only way I can see Maidenhead, Maidstone or Maidenhead for that matter, anyway I can see Maidstone really challenging anywhere, and I mean anyway, even for mid-table, is they have to get a good start, and their transfer business doesn't inspire me. So I've put them bottom for that purpose. Maidstone fans, please don't get angry at me or mad at me. Like I said, I have to go on what I think and what I've seen Maidstone do. Couple of solid signs, but nothing that a half decent National League side is going to worry about. Watch them prove me very, very, very wrong. But yep, my bottom team is Maidstone United. I've said that again, so I don't say Maidenhead again. But Maidstone United. Second bottom for me is this one, Wealdstone. Now I got called out last year when I said Wealdstone. No, I just want to say no, it's Wealdstone. It's not Wealdstone, but I'll say Wealdstone because why not? But Wealdstone are basically going to be my second team to get relegated. I think they're going to find it hard to recreate what they did last year. They've lost a lot of the players that got them to there. They did make a signing recently, I did notice, of Sam Habergan, which is a very good signing for Wealdstone, and that is very, very good. They've got some solid players at Wealdstone, but could the lack of maybe depth in the squad, could that really trouble them? They'll definitely give teams a go, but I just don't think they're going to have enough in the squad to get out of trouble. So I am putting Wealdstone FC they're going to be second bottom, and unfortunately, for me, relegated. But they are a good club. I just want to state that. And like I said, they could prove me wrong. And in a way, these predictions are that. You want the teams where you put them. You want the top teams to prove you right. You basically want the bottom teams to prove you wrong. So take that, if you do get upset by my predictions, take that as a motivation. Let's prove him wrong. Third bottom. No surprise here. It's Aldershot. Now, I know that Aldershot Town have literally signed Ian Young in the last few weeks. Great signing for this level. I think Mark Mosley is a good manager. But if they start the way they started the back end of last season, I think they will go down, and that's why I've got them in a relegation place. I think Aldershot, former Football League side, you have to remember that with Aldershot. They are a former league club, but they have sort of fell down the pecking order. And if you look at the overall strength of the league this year and a lot of the transfer business that the other top clubs are doing, even though they have got any Young in from Woking, again, there's no real standout business. There's nothing to make you go, wow, they really have improved. Solid additions, again, but I just think it's going to be another season of struggle for Aldershot. Watch them now finish 14th. But no, I'm basically saying they will finish 22nd, which will put them in a relegation place. Fourth bottom, the final relegation place. Again, people are going to say this might be a bit of a cop-out. Like I said, prove me wrong. I'm going to go to finishing 21st, which is the final relegation place. I'm giving it to Dorking Wanderers. One reason, I know nothing about Dorking. I'll be fair. I've never even come across Dorking. I know they play on an artificial pitch. Apparently it's very, very hilly round about where Dorking normally play. They could be a surprise. Again, if you look at the overall signings, they don't think, wow, that's a belting signing, isn't it? And it's the same kind of thing as Maidstone, really. They've done fantastic to get at this level, and Maidstone played at this level a few seasons ago. So it's not as though they haven't got previous, but Dorking, I don't believe, have. I've never seen Dorking in the National League, don't know much about them. But again, their transfer business doesn't seem like it's going to wow me. But all these teams at the bottom, not saying they can't spring a surprise, because they most definitely can. Would it surprise me if I got one or two of these wrong? Absolutely not. But Dorking, just on the transfer business and probably the budget that Dorking have got, can't see them really. I can see them challenging to stay up, but I just don't see them having enough to stay up. So Dorking are in my final playoff place. So who, you may ask, who has just escaped the drop? On a few of the predictions that I've seen so far, some people have put this team bottom, and I don't know how you can possibly do that. I'll tell you why. The team I'm talking about to finish in 20th place is Maidenhead. Now I'm talking about the right team, Maidenhead. Why Maidenhead? Simple. And his name is Alan Devonshire. He is the miracle maestro, as I call Alan Devonshire. He's one of these guys that he can literally build a squad on next to nothing. they're not going to blow teams away, but they are a spoiler team. They are teams like Notts County, teams like Stockport last year, teams like Grimsby last year, top teams, like Yeovil and other teams in this division. They're not going to want to go to Maidenhead. You could say that about Maidstone and Dorking, but really, Maidenhead is one of those ones that you know you are in for a ugly, ugly scrap. And I just feel with Maidenhead, what they do as well is they use the area where they are. They use the loans and the free transfers so well. They don't always, they've had, some Sam Barrett was an amazing signing for Maidenhead a season or two ago, and I think he's still there. But Maidenhead just able to use the area where they are, to get decent, good, young, hungry players. And I do see them struggling. I really do. I just think they will just have enough to get out of trouble. And it is the Devonshire effect. And for that reason, I couldn't put Maidenhead to go down. And I don't believe they will. I think they will do just enough this season to stay out of the bottom four. Next is the third of the promoted sides. I have placed Gateshead as 20th place. No, I haven't. I placed them as 19th. There you go. I'm not counting properly. I've put Gateshead in 19. I've also seen people put Gateshead bottom. Now, I wonder if they're doing that because they've lost the two top goal scorers to Notts County in McCoy Langstaff and maybe that's why. Gateshead they are a solid National League club anyway, and that they won the National League North last year. To me, again, I don't think they'll pull up any trees. I don't think they've replaced the two guys that they have lost to Notts County. I don't think they've replaced them with very much. Like I said, I'm a little bit out of the loop with the transfers in National League, but Gateshead are a team that I do know played good football last year in the National League North. And like I said, they are a well-known National League team anyway. And even though I think it may be a season of struggle for Gateshead, I do think that Gateshead will have more than enough to get out or not really be in trouble. I think their squad is strong enough to be in the National League for another season. But I think they do need to really look at that striker. But you need goals all over the pitch. So, you could get a standout that you're not even thinking of right now. But that's Gateshead in 19th. In 18th, I've gone for Scunthorpe United. Now, I'm sure a lot of Scunny fans are probably going to go with my Grimsby link. They're going to go, well, of course you put us low because to be honest with you, you've made a couple of decent signings. One guy I know for certain is Elliot Whitehouse. I was a bit surprised that Elliot's gone to Scunthorpe. Not because it's Scunthorpe, but because, he's a solid League Two player. I think he could play League Two, but obviously I've got a feeling it's probably the pull of Keith Hill. And he's another one that's signed as well or re-signed, shall we say. I put them as low as that because of the disarray, basically, around the ownership. And I think they will get a shock. I think even Keith Hill will get a shock with how physical and how tough the National League actually is. They'll do well to end up higher than I put them, because there's a lot of good clubs in this league, and I just Scunthorpe need to find a footing. I wouldn't worry so much about getting promoted first time round, especially with the Peter Swan problem and the ownership problem. I just can't see Scunthorpe challenging. And that's trying to be an unbiased view. My biased view is I'm glad they're down there. But from an unbiased view, they won't challenge. I don't think they'll have enough to challenge. Some of the business that's been done by the upper end of this league and the quality that a lot of those teams have already got, Scunny are way behind those. So that is why I put Scunthorpe in 18th place. Could they do better? No, not really. They've got a good player in Elliot Whitehouse, though. He's now played for every side in Lincolnshire. So he's got the full set. So, yeah. So, Iron fans don't man at me. I'm a Grimsby fan, but I'm not trying to be... I'm not trying to do it for bias. I just don't think you're good enough to challenge at the top end. And that's that. Just in front of Scunthorpe, I'm putting the team that I have such a soft spot for, Eastleigh. They did struggle last year, which I was very, very surprised that they actually did. They're a good club. You know, they've got a good manager in charge now. They've actually made an interesting signing the last couple of weeks. They have signed Tristan Abrahams from Carlisle. Now, we had him last season at Grimsby, and he's a good player. What they definitely have got there in Tristan, they've got a penalty taker. So if it comes to penalties are required, Tristan will be on them. Hard-working lad as well. Good lad. We all like him over here. So that was a good, shrewd bit of business. And it's just showing you now, doesn't it, everybody, how competitive the National League and the lower leagues are. Tristan Abrahams, 3-4 years ago, wouldn't even have looked at Eastleigh. And Tristan's not, it's not end of a career thing for Tristan. He's going to Eastleigh. Now, 3 or 4 years ago, people would have laughed at that. You've been let go by Carlisle and then gone to Eastleigh. It's no longer a joke. National League is no longer a joke. And I think that's a cracking bit of business by Eastleigh. They have got some good players. Could they finish higher than this? Of course they could. Eastleigh are a team I always keep my eye on. I love Eastleigh as a club. I love Eastleigh's fan base. Love them. Still remember when we played them in that playoff campaign, they would not stop singing. I loved it. I still have a soft spot for the club. Even though with Tristan's acquisition, I just don't see them challenging above mid-table. They could finish anywhere between 14th and where I put them in, well, between 14th and 18th, really. But like any, they could also shoot up. I'm hoping the other end, but I put them realistically where I think they might finish, in 17th. In 16th place, we're going for Barnet. Now, it's a full season for Dean Brennan. So Barnet fans will probably think you're thinking that we're going to be same as last year. No. Again, it's just down as well to the top end of the National League is so strong in squads, I can't see a lot of teams challenging the top 5 or 6. Barnet, always a good club, always a good away day, which when we've been there as a club, when Grimsby were there, always a good away day. Barnet, they have brought some decent players through the door in the summer. I just don't think it's going to be quite enough. And again, similar placing to where they were last year. I can't see them pulling up any trees. That is why I've put them in 16th place. Just above them, the other relegated side, Oldham Athletic. Now, Scunny and Oldham could flip-flop. I've put Oldham again down in about 15th for the same reason as Scunthorpe, really. The ownership and the club is not together. The fans are not together. They're a good club, Oldham. Can't believe they're the first team who has played in every division. You know, they were one of the first teams. I think they were the first team on, was it on Premier League TV? Oh no, that may have been Nottingham Forest and Liverpool. But, you know, the first team to have played in the Premier League era, down to the National League. And they're down here not because the club's bad, they've just been run poorly. And the recruitment's not been right. But to see Oldham, who are a good club, I loved my trips to Oldham. They're a good old stadium. Love them. It's sad to see Oldham, who used to be in the Premier League, down now in non-league. I think it's going to take a season or so to adjust. Obviously, Oldham and all these clubs are going to be dreaming of more. But I think a solid low-end to mid-table finish for Oldham. I think if fans look at it in general, because I think they've still got the same owners that they had, and I think if they take that, I think 15th is a fair place. Could they push on? They should push on. But I just don't see them doing it with the level of squads that other teams above them are going to have. But hey ho, you never know. And just above them in 14th. Now I may have undercooked these slightly. I'm going for the first time, full-time, Altrincham. Again, a club that I have a lot of respect for at the National League level. It's going to take some adjustment. Obviously going full-time. That is going to help them. Could they push to the top 10? Of course they could. You know, I mean, for the start of the last couple of seasons, even as part-time, they're in the top 10 early on. You know, or in the top half at least. They are more than capable of pushing on. I may have undercooked these slightly. In fact, with a couple of these, I very nearly put them in yo-yo positions. But I'm being fair. I think for, first season being full-time, if they get a mid-table to top-end finish, I'm sure Altrincham would take that and then maybe push on next year. But I put them in 14th. Have I undercooked them? Possibly. Any Altrincham fans, you'll have to let me know where you would put yourselves. Would you accept 14th, or are you looking more towards the top half? I think I know the answer, but there you go. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, another club I've got time for, 14th for Altrincham. Just missing out on the top half of the division. I'm going for Chris Hargreaves' Yeovil. Now, Yeovil, to me, are one of these clubs that really should not be in the National League in regards to the history they've had. I mean, they were the giant killers all the years they were in the National League. They were the giant killers. But they've had a bad 3, 4, 5 years, really. Well, since really they got into the Championship, things have never really been right for Yeovil. I think it's a good appointment to have Chris Hargreaves, local lad, of course. But I think that's a shrewd appointment by Yeovil. And I did put them as my surprise package last season. It didn't happen. It might be this year. But, Chris is doing some shrewd business at Yeovil. He's brought Sam Perry in on loan from Walsall. Apparently Sam is a very good youngster. And he's made some shrewd signings over the summer so far. Chris Hargreaves, and he's not. I love when a manager does this. He's not rushing into signings, and that I respect. But again, I don't think they're going to push. They'll do the opposite now. What I thought they'd do last year, they'll do this year. But I'm going to put respectfully up in 13th. That wouldn't be a bad first season for Chris Hargreaves, I don't believe. Obviously, Chris is going to want more. But, it's his first managerial role since he was at Torquay about 6, 7, 8 years ago now. So it'll be good to see Chris back in the dugout, and I know for certain I think he's on TV quite early on in the season, so it'll be good to see him on the other side as well as when he's done the punditry for BT Sport. So for me, 13th for Yeovil. Going on now, this I really feel like I've undercooked them, but that could be some bias on my part. Woking. Now, Darren Sarll is doing some great business in the market for Woking, really. And there is a bit of a soft spot here because they signed Podrick Hammond, out of absolutely nowhere. And I know a few fans of Grimsby were devastated because we all wanted Podge to come back. And again, this is another statement of intent in the National League, even though I agree, even though I believe it still should be non-league, you're getting easily lower-end League 1, League 2 standard players wanting to play at this level. And for Podge to go to Woking, that really is a statement of intent by Dan Sarll. All I'll say to any Woking fan is, you've got a goal scorer there. Will he probably score as many as he did do when he was last in the National League? Don't know. He's probably not the same striker as he was then. But he'll get you goals. That is one of the shrewdest bits of business I think a club could do, and one right out the blue. Funny how they use U2 to actually announce him a beautiful day. That was fantastic. But no, Woking, I think they'll be around it. They could push, but I put them bang in the middle in 12th. So Darren Sarll, though, is showing himself to be quite a shrewd manager. It looks like Woking have got a fair budget there this year. We'll see how they get on. I'd put them bang on mid-table, but they could easily probably go higher. Next, just above Woking, we're going to go for playoff semi-finalists, Halifax. Halifax Town, why have I put them down in 11th? I don't think they can recreate what happened last year. Watch them prove me wrong. They've lost Naumea to Grimsby. They've lost a lot of their squad from last year, and apparently Grimsby are linked to another one. as well. We don't know if that's true or not, but apparently terms have been agreed. But going back mainly to Halifax, that they've kind of like been decimated by Pete Wild. He's took Billy Waters with him. They are kind of like going to be in a and a couple of others from there. They are going to be in a building kind of period. I just don't see them challenging again. I think they've bought some shrewd acquisitions in. If you do want to hear a lot about Halifax, there is Luke Walsh. He does the Halifax podcast his own. If you want to get your big news about Halifax, please go and follow him and his podcast. He also covers all National League related stuff, so please go and see him. But Luke, you may agree with my decision, you may not, who knows. But no, for me, Halifax, this is kind of like a rebuilding season after what they've lost over the summer. I know Niall was very well thought of at Halifax. I know Billy Waters was, and it is like a rebuilding job. Good luck to them. I like Halifax, but I just don't see them challenging this year, unfortunately. So 11th for Halifax for me. Just above them, we're going to go for Bromley. And the only real reason for that, no, it's not just Michael Cheek. They bought a good striker in from the National League North. He scores South, I think it is. Scored plenty of goals. I think he scored about 26 goals. And at National League level, you never know. I think if they can get him to click with Michael Cheek in that. I do know that they have, was it Bromley? I believe it was. They're a dangerous side, whatever you think of their manager is by the by. They're definitely going to be in and around it. I think Bromley, they always will be. A good club in general, just the manager's not so much. Andy Woodman needs to get his head on right. I still don't know what his issue with Grimsby is, but there we go. But Bromley, I think they'll challenge again, but they may fade like they did. That's why they need their new striker to go alongside Michael Cheek, because as Bromley are being shown, you can't rely on one striker. That won't get you anywhere. So, again, they're a solid National League side. I expect them to be top half. I'll be surprised if they're not. But yeah, 10th for Bromley. 9th. I'm going to go Boreham Wood. Again, this is exactly where they finished last year. In fact, Bromley and Boreham Wood, I think, finished in these exact positions. Boreham Wood have made a few good signings. The one signing that really stands out is Dion Kelly-Evans. I know a lot of fans at Notts County raved about Dion. And we're quite disappointed to see him leave at the back end of last season. But he's found a new home with Boreham Wood. And Luke Garrard, got a lot of time for Luke Garrard, a lot of respect, and for the club in general. That they are. That penalty they got against Wrexham could actually have cost Wrexham the title, when you think about it. Boreham Wood, they're gritty, they're tough. They definitely have added to the front line though, because they needed to. They needed to get more goals in the side, and they have done that. If you do want to check out the National League transfers of Boreham Wood, please do. They are there. Good signings though. Good club. Again, I think they'll be in and around it. but they need to get more goals in the side. They need to score more. If they score more, there's nothing saying they can't break the playoffs. But like last year when they, after they lost to Everton, they made the 5th round against Everton. They fell off a cliff. They can't really afford to do that this year, because I do believe the National League is getting stronger and stronger every year. But they're a good club, and I think 9th for them. Next, we'll go to a team that I don't believe will do as bad as they did last year. Torquay. Why have I put them just outside the playoff places? I put them just outside the playoff places due to they've lost Lemon Havens, which will be a blow for them. The Shrewd, I think they finished 10th last year. They're very shrewd. So that's it. Bromley finished 11th and Torquay finished 10th. They're a very shrewd outfit. And Gary Johnson is a wily veteran in terms of management. They'll be in and around it without a shadow of a doubt, Torquay. Because no one really likes going to Torquay. You like playing at Torquay. You don't like as a visiting team. Going to Torquay. It's like one of those, it's the English Riviera. And they play like their manager. Torquay are one of those sort of teams that play like their manager, like you're thinking, yeah, this is a Gary Johnson team. And Torquay is just that. They play like how you would expect Gary Johnson. And they'll do fine. I think they will be in and around it. Like I say, I put them in 8th. Just because I think, could they break the top 7? Of course they could. They did it the year before. They had a bit of a drop-off last season, which I was surprised about with the severity of the drop-off. I think they'll come again this year. But I just don't think they'll quite have enough to make the playoffs. But 8th place for Torquay. 7th, I'm putting the Shrimpers. Now, it's down to their manager as to why this is. The way Mayer's got them playing and believing in themselves is temple. Let me just have a beverage. They are, the guy, he knows the club. The manager knows the club. He knows exactly, and they are making some shrewd acquisitions at Southend. I know they're one of the favourites to possibly even win the league this year. Would that surprise me? Possibly, but I'll be very surprised if they're not in the playoff mix. I've put them in the playoffs, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. They've got Harry Cardwell, which I believe this is his level. I know he's just had an injury, so that's a bit of a blow for Southend. But they've got some good players there, and I do expect Southend to challenge at the top end. So could they challenge further, higher up? Yeah, with the squad they've got, they most definitely could. It's just getting a chance. But I think they will. They will crack the top 7, I believe, Southend. So they're in 7th for me. Just above them, I have to, Dagenham. I think it's about time now Dagenham got in the playoffs, don't you? With the amount of talent that Dagenham Redbridge have got in that squad, they've just brought in David Long-King from Grimsby. If he's fit, he's a good defender. Tell you that. They've also still got Paul McCallum. I'll tell you something, that they have got a squad that a lot of teams in League 2 would love to have. And I think their main target this year is getting the playoffs. That's got to be That has got to be the remit for Dagenham. Darryl McMahon, great manager at this level, fantastic manager. What happens with Dagenham? They seem to start very well up until about the turn of the year, so about halfway through to about January, February. Then for some reason they lose themselves. I wonder if they try. I wonder if they give too much of themselves. I want to say try too hard. I wonder if they give themselves too much in that first half, desperately trying to get the points in the first half. They've got to try and stay in the top 10 throughout the year and try and get a late surge. But Dagenham are one of those clubs that in the last 3-4 years that I've been watching Dagenham, and I've been watching National League for about 15 years since it's been televised. In the last 2 or 3, Dagenham should at least have been in the playoffs more times than they have. You know, and I think Darryl McMahon is the right guy to get them in there. I think he will get them in there. You know, they've got a good base of a squad there. And like I said, with David Long King in there, which they signed, I mean, it was last week from Grimsby, they've got every chance. They literally have got every single chance. But, you know, they're going to be a dangerous side this year. So inside the playoffs, I'm giving them a playoff place this year for Dagenham up in 6th. 5th, the most successful position in the National League. I'm giving it to Solihull. Now, Solihull finished 3rd last year. They've just recently sold Carl Hudlin to Huddersfield. But they have kept Joe Sabara, which I think is a cracking bit of business because there was a lot of clubs looking at Joe. They've got Jamie Osborne. He's staying put as well. They've got some quality there. And like I said, you've got Neil Ardley. Could this be 3rd time lucky for Neil? You know, I want Solihull to go up because they're a good club. I think it'll be playoffs for them again. I don't think they'll probably be as high as they were last year. They finished 3rd. But I think 5th is a reasonable position for them to be in. And Neil Ardley, he always gets the most out of his squads. So I expect nothing other than Solihull to be in the playoffs. I really do. And good luck to them because I think they've got the quality there where they can really give the National League a run. Going into 4th, now this may shock a few people, but it won't shock me. York City, I believe will be playoffs minimum. People say yeah, but you've had 3 players of theirs that's come from Grimsby. They've had Burgess, they've got Crooks, and they've got Linnell John Lewis. Now, if you look at other players that they've actually bought in, they've been very, very shrewd with their business this year. York City, and they have a club that deserve it, but they'll have to earn it. But I just think York, with what they bought in, I can't see them not finishing top half. And yeah, I put them high up in the playoffs, but yeah, that's what's going to be. What will be. I think York City are starting at a good balance to their side, a very, very good balance, and that's what you need. You've got a shrewd manager in John Askey there. I mean, that was a belting appointment when they signed him last season. That was an absolute belting appointment. York City on the crest of a wave. They just won the playoffs in the National League North. They beat Boston in the final for that. And some of the acquisitions, like I said, like Adam Crooks, solid defender. Burgess can't really speak much about him. He didn't really play much. Lenny, they love Lenny at York. And I think that Lenny will do a job at York City. They know how to get the best out of him. And I sincerely and honestly believe York City will make the playoffs next season. They're my pick for the surprise team, shall we say, the surprise team. But it won't be a surprise for me if York make the playoffs and put them in fourth. No surprise. This one I was umming and ahhing about. I wasn't sure. Do I put one over the other? And I really wasn't sure. I've gone for Notts County in third. They've obviously brought the two lads in from Gateshead, Macaulay Longstaff, and his strike partner at Gateshead. And so far they're having a good pre-season. Notts County, they really are. You know, they're 3 from 3. I mean that's good, but like I said, you don't want to get carried away with pre-season. But you know, they have lost Alex Lacey. He's gone to Hartlepool. But again, you know, being able to keep hold of Ruben Rodriguez and Carl Roberts. Well, like I said, they're still to the end of August yet. They did lose Carl Wotton to Stockport. As disappointed as I think a lot of Notts County fans are. I think now they've got the two lads from Gateshead. It'll soften the blow if they start scoring goals. And both guys can do. They're both able to. Again, you've got to give Notts County the credit that they are, since they dropped in to the National League 4 years ago, but this is their 4th season in there, they have been the most consistent team, you know, in the National League. And so you can't take that away from them. Still, my only concern about Notts County isn't going forward. I checked a stat, you know, in the last 2 years, they've scored 61, 62 and 81, and they still haven't got up, you know. Anything is that you can score that many goals, but each season in the last 3, their defence have got worse. Each of the last 3 seasons, their defence have got worse. Now, their manager said when he, head coach, came in and he actually said, we don't want to change the remit of Notts County. You know, because the way they're playing is right. I've always said I have no concerns in the National League about Notts County going forward. The big challenge for Notts County is where's going to be the defensive reinforcements. They've got Carl Cameron, who is a good defender, but I think they need to shoot up shot more often. Maybe they need to be not quite as narrow or as tight as Boreham Wood were, but they can't be as open as they have been. But again, I can't not put Notts County in the top 3. It was a yo-yo situation. Do I put these or do I put the team in second? Where these are, I've gone for Notts County to finish 3rd. We'll have to see. They're a good club. I love Notts County. I've got an affiliation with family through Notts County. So, but I'm not biased towards Notts County. I want to make that perfectly clear. It's not the same as maybe last year, you know, but I've got an affiliation with Notts County. I want Notts County to do well. All I'd say to their fans is don't get carried away, you know. It's not about just having 20, 30 goals a season from your strikers. You had that last year and you didn't get up. Wrexham had the Golden Boot winner. They didn't get up. But I think Notts County will be there or thereabouts again. I think they will push for the league. I just don't see them winning the league. But I definitely can see them in the top 3. So 3rd for Notts County for me. I very, very nearly put them 2nd. But I'm putting Chesterfield 2nd. Now this one could come back and bite me quite easily. They're going to have Tishamanga back. They've just won their recent pre-season friendly. I think it was 3-2. they're a good side. You know, they're a very good side. I think they did underwhelm once James Rowe left Chesterfield. They unravelled, and Paul Cook's a good manager. You know, he could definitely, he'll definitely won't be happy with the way they finished. You've got to say they're going to be up there. That one between Chesterfield and Notts County, I think that is one of the first games on BT as well. In the season, Chesterfield Notts County, I can understand that. You know, it's probably one of the biggest games in the National League. Chesterfield and Notts, and it's a derby. But I just fancy Chesterfield over the season just ahead of Notts County, but not by much. So, second for Chesterfield. If Tishimanga is back and he's fit, you know what a threat Tishimanga is. He can win games on his own. He's that good, you know. But second for me, which means I wish I had a drum roll, but I don't. Yes, probably one of the most boring answers you could get. Boring. Wrexham. And I don't mean Wrexham are boring, by the way. But I'm sure a lot of people will be putting Wrexham to win the league next year. I can't see past them. I really can't. I know they've just recently lost Tyler French. I know they've lost a couple of guys from the first team last year. They haven't lost Ollie Palmer. They haven't they haven't lost Reece Hall Johnson. They haven't lost Luke Young. They haven't lost. They haven't lost here. No, they have lost. You know, they've still got Paul Mullin. You know, and they've made a couple of quality additions on top of that. I can't see past I can't see past Wrexham, and I just can't. They're a league club waiting to happen now. You know, this is their 15th season in the National League. I can see this being their last season in the National League. But as we know, the National League is a league that you just don't know. You know, everyone thought Stockport were going to run away with it last year. In the end, they didn't. And when Wrexham beat Stockport last year, they thought they were going to go on to win the league. But they'll want to make as few slip-ups as possible. But for me, Wrexham to win the National League. That is my predictions done. So, what do you guys think? Where do you think your club will finish? Like I said, please do not get angry. Use it as motivation to really get behind your side. What I'm going to love about this is, this season, what I'm going to love about it is I can watch the National League and there's no bias. There won't be any bias on my part. I can just sit there and enjoy watching the National League and watching some good football, because the football is getting better and better in the National League, and you know it's going to be a very good, interesting season to see. But please don't get upset if you're not happy where I put your club. Like I've just said, use it as motivation to really get behind your side. What are you guys' predictions for it? Where do you think your club, especially your club, will finish this season? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if if there's any sort of content you want about the National League or talking points about the National League this season. Leave them in the comments for me. Message me. Let me know, and I will oblige what people will want to see. In the meantime, that's me done for this. Longer than my League 2 video. And I will see you guys very soon for when the season does kick off. It kicks off in the Football League on the 30th of July, and it kicks off in the National League on the 6th. I'll be back with some previews and all the other good stuff about the National League very, very soon. I will see you guys soon. Like, subscribe, share, and let's have a fun season, shall we? Way!